Right, number 33, holes. Going to punch a load of holes in this thing so it looks a little bit more like the rest of the bike and a little bit less like a dustbin lid. And the first thing is a sharp centre punch. Welcome back to Delboy's Garage. Alright, so last time round got all this mocked up on the bike, pretty much like that. There it is. And made a mention, it's going to bung some holes in there, on there, and there, and there, and there, and wherever else they look good. So the first thing with that is marking them off. I'm going to use the hole cone cutters. Them, I've got 3 of them, and going to try and use them in the drill press, make it a bit easier. That thing's so much easier to drill with because you get a nice steady pressure on it rather than a hand drill. And this is pretty thick stuff, so let's see how it resists and do some test holes first of all and then mark it out, see what it looks like. Just something to draw on that's a little bit more obvious than just the steel. Pencil lines tend to disappear, and I need to, as I'll show you in a minute, I need to draw a grid. Just take the time drawing these grids so I can plot exactly where to put the drills, or drill the holes rather, and make it as symmetrical as possible. Playing to the OCD again, you know how it is. Right, getting somewhere now. 4 bits of flotsam from the box of flotsam, and they're just spacers and odds and ends, but that's a 28mm circle, that a 22, that a 16, and that a 12, and 10mm I can just do with the drill, it's not a problem. So obviously the idea is to draw a circle around all of these because I want them to follow one line of step. Now if I just drilled or centre punched a straight row of centre punch marks, then they will get bigger in a straight scale, but I want the edge of the holes to follow the edge lip of the cowling, so bringing them in like that, which means the centre punch marks are offset. They kind of go in an arc, in fact. They step in each time, but there's no way of measuring that exactly, so all we're going to do is draw around them, then draw across in them, and that's your centre punch marks, and use the grid that I've plotted out here on the tape just to get an equal 10mm. 10mm between each hole, so it's starting 15mm in for the first hole, which just gives a nice lip to it because I'm going to round that off at the edge later, and that will give me a 5mm radius on this welded edge. So just allowing for that radius, and 10 more mil takes that to there and there. So first one to draw around, and this is just a circle. This will be the hole itself, and it's easy to plot the centre of a hole, as you all know. Nobody doesn't know that. Just put a cross on it, and the cross is the centre punch mark. So that's the first one, and ready for the other side. Now the next one, 10mm between it, and right on that edge. And it'll just mean that when they're drilled, when everything's drilled, and done, they'll all look correct. It will look like a neat row of holes put in the right order. That's it. That's it. Maybe this is OCD, I don't know, it's just a rat bike, but you know, if you can take the time, why don't you take time? Might as well get it right. When it's done, it looks the business. That's it. I need a longer pencil as well. So that's the general idea. I'll pick that up in a minute. That's it. There we are. So you can see the idea, ever reducing in the size of the circles, and then I'll drill through the centre of each one with yon cone drill and hopefully be able to put a neat row of tapered holes all the way along. So I'm going to keep circle drawing, come back in a minute. There's a certain element of kind of bi-eye to it, but or y-eye, and that's actually that's right there. But when it's all done, I think that level of accuracy will be enough. Right, that's that bit done. Let's do these. Same principle: large, less large, least large, and just eye them up. They're just going on by eye, and then equalise them with a centimetre between each, centimetre at the edge, and one line from the top, same as that. Time consuming. Half hour at it already. Let's get cracking. It's odd how you can eye the centre just by looking above it. Quite easy. A lot easier than measuring it. Right, little anvil. And I use a little anvil underneath because I want a nice sharp centre punch mark, but I don't want any distortion of the sheet metal, which obviously you'd get if there wasn't anything underneath to support it. Just one strike so it doesn't bounce. And as I showed you at the beginning, really sharp centre punch. So you get a nice deep, crisp start hole. And then I can just literally take the tape off when it's done. I'm going to do the sides just a little bit simpler, a little bit less grief involved on the sides, because these ones I want to pick to match in with the rest of the tank. So just coming in 25mm, so they're all at one width. Nice and straight across. Then we're going to go 12mm holes at 35mm spaces. So from the dot, it will just be easy enough to do. I think these will just be the ones that will match it in with the tank. 3.5 or 35 rather. It's just coming in at 35 and perfect. Recooling, rolling. Right, noisy baby. Right, it's just going to go almost to the outside of the holes, but the circumference of metal that's rubbing metal increases as it gets bigger, and that is glowing almost. So I'm going to let that cool right off. Once it cools right down, it will start cutting properly again, and then I'll do them again. In the meantime, change to a smaller bit while that cools down, and do the side ones. Okay, switching to by hand mode. We won't go in the press anymore. It's a bit tall on the sides. Line it up, lean that on. And the last one, last but not least. Lots of holes, a mess. Right, let's get all the tape off and clean it up. See what it all looks like. Whoa, there we go. Look at that. Looks a bit better. Right, let's mock it up on the bike, see what it looks like. Right, let's give you a look then. There we are, bit of a mock up. Now it's not accurate, didn't go out as big as I wanted to on these because it started overheating, and I don't want to overheat the cutters. It's quite thick steel, and these are not perfectly accurate. That one's about 1.5 mil in further than that one is, but you know, there it is. That, I reckon, matches in a little bit more with this now. Once we get bolts and paintage and that kind of effect and so on, I reckon we'll get there. Somebody said, Tattoo Bill said, samurai mask. I quite like that. Yeah, and I can see it. Cool. Right, there we go. Right, there we go. I'm going to call that done now. It's been 3.5 hours, the lion's share of which was measuring and marking out, and it still ain't accurate by a long way. It really isn't. Sort of either side. It kind of stand back more than 3 foot and you can't see it, but I stand a lot closer and I can, and it bothers me. So there's nothing more I'm going to do about it. That's it. That's how it's going to be. If that had a water jet CNC machine, doody, bang, knock it all out, and it'd be absolutely perfect. No burrs, no cuts, no nothing. But there you are. It's done by hand drills, hand tools, grinders, cutters, and pillar drills, and that's a hell of a lot more fun. It really is. Okay, there we are. Thanks for tuning in to watching number 33. Moving forward, take it easy, ride safe. See you next time.